Thomas Jefferson was born on April 13, 1743, at Chadwell, Virginia. In 1760, when Jefferson was around 17 years old, he attended the College of William and Mary. After he graduated in 1762, Jefferson studied law. And in 1768, Jefferson was elected to the House of Burgesses. In 1772, he married Martha Wales Skelton, and his daughter Martha was born. 2 years later, in 1774, he wrote a summer review of the rights of British America, which was presented to the First Continental Congress. Jefferson also retired from legal practices, and his daughter Jane Randolph was born that year. In 1775, he was elected into the Continental Congress, and his daughter Jane Randolph died. In 1776, he helped create the Declaration of Independence, which also got drafted that year. He was also elected to Virginia House of Delegates, was appointed to revise the Virginia laws, but also in that year his mother Jane Randolph died. In 1777, he drafted the Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom, which was passed by the General Assembly in 1786, and when the bill was passed, it made Virginia the first state to separate church from state. And also in this year, Jefferson's unnamed son was born and died. In 1778, his daughter Mary, who was also known as Maria, was born. Thomas Jefferson served as the governor of Virginia in 1779 through 1781, and in 1780 his daughter Lucy Elizabeth was born, and also he had begun notes on the state of Virginia. A year later, his daughter Lucy Elizabeth died, and in 1782 he had another daughter, who was also named Lucy Elizabeth. His wife also died that year. In 1783, he was elected delegate to Congress, but in 1784 his daughter Lucy Elizabeth died. 2 years after Lucy died, Thomas published the Notes on the State of Virginia, and between the years of 1784 and 1789, Jefferson was in France as a commissioner and minister. Shortly after Jefferson returned to America, he served as the first Secretary of State in 1790 through 1793. 4 years later, in 1797, he served as the Vice President of the United States till 1801. Also in 1797, he served as the President of American Philosophical Society till 1815. After Jefferson served as the Vice President, he became the President of the United States in 1801. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase was concluded, and the expedition of Lewis and Clark began. A year later, 2 years after his daughter's death in 1806, the Lewis and Clark expedition concluded. In 1809, when Jefferson had just completed his second term of being president, he retired from the presidency and public life. In 1815, he had sold 6,700-volume library to Congress, and 2 years later, the Cornerstone Central College, aka the University of Virginia, was laid. In 1825, the University of Virginia opened, and a year later, Thomas Jefferson died at Monticello on July 4th.